Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, finishing up our coverage from, that's right, Phoenix Film Festival 2019, and it was a spectacular celebration, as it always is. Number of years covering this festival at this particular point, and doing both the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival segment, and of course regular hashtag PFF. And I actually just got out of a film called The Farewell that has been getting a ton of buzz on the festival circuit, and with good reason. You know, I know A24 has this stigma about them all too often, unfortunately, where it's like, yes, their stuff is slow and pandering at times and so on and so forth, but it's not all, you know, just slow build horror that they do, as evidenced by this particular film, which is really just an interesting cultural rumination on different approaches to, I guess, not only breaking the news of a life-ending illness of sorts, but also just how culturally, you know, we deal with things in the East versus the West and so on and so forth. And yeah, so these are just little bite-sized reviews, you know, little like Rapido Fuego stuff that I've been doing here at the festival. And I must say, just overall impressions, incredible cast, great ensemble, well acted, which really, you know, it makes sense for the sheer fact that, you know, in Eastern culture versus Western culture, it really is much more in the East about, you know, family and that cohesion and that respectfulness. And that is the one difference that I remember even learning about in psychology class in school and stuff, is the fact that Westerners, yeah, we're all about our independence and so on and so forth. And it's an interesting cultural clash that, you know, they take an examination on in this particular film. And just to give a little bit of you know, story, there was a grandmother, and she is diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, and it just so happens to coincide with a cousin of our main character who is about to get married back home in China. And so even though she's initially not really invited, she's busy with other things, but you can tell like her life isn't as together as she would like it to be, as she would like to present to her family and so on. But against her parents' wishes in America, you know, which she relocated to when she was just a couple years old, basically, yeah, she goes back and attends the wedding slash, basically everybody in the family knows about this diagnosis except for the person who has the affliction, which is crazy. And so that's it's an interesting just kind of cultural approach, I guess, you know, and the fact that in Chinese culture, which is where the predominance of the film takes place, there's some stuff shot in New York, which is where our lead character and her parents live, but yeah, it's apparently a taboo thing to tell the afflicted that they have this terminal thing going down. And it's really I don't know, our lead character the entire time, you know, she's got her shoulders hunched over, and you can tell that the extended family, you know, is really bearing this burden. And there's one scene in particular that I found very effective, where her two sons are basically, you know, having a discussion, and the one who, you know, does not live in America, he's basically like, this is our burden to bear as a family, and that is the difference between, you know, Eastern culture versus Western culture. And I felt like that discussion in that particular scene really epitomized very much so just the examination that this film attempts to take place. And it's a very personal story at the end of the day, and I respected it thoroughly, even though it's not necessarily something that I would like seek out immensely. It was a very fitting farewell, the farewell to the Phoenix Film Festival. And so yeah, I definitely recommend it if you're into, you know, family dramas that have a very poignant aspect of both humor and drama to them. And this film really did the juggling act very well, because at the end of the day, that's what life really and family is all about. It's not always good, it's not always bad. It's an interesting, you know, mixture of the bitter and sweet, and that's something that this film did a tremendous job of tackling. And yeah, A24, they rarely disappoint me. I know that there's lots of people who just don't get so into what they do, and aren't too particularly interested in their approach, and that's totally fine. I recommend the hell out of the Farewell. I thought it was great, and I'm gonna give this. This is a Fuego film. This is 4 out of 5, and I'm just gonna leave it at that, everybody. I'm not sure when the actual theatrical release is, but performances were good, humor was on point, drama was there when it needed to be, and yeah, I can't recommend it enough. So I've been Jaime En Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And obviously, big shout out and thanks to Patrick at Allied and to Monty and Jason, the respective organizers of IHSFF and PFF. And yeah, it was a blast covering this event, as it always is, and it was a pleasure and an honor. And yeah, there's all kinds of other fresca Fuego stuff coming from the festival. My personal favorite was a film called This World Alone, which I'm going to be doing a review on that y'all can see. There was some other really tremendous stuff that I got to check out. Ophelia, not so much. This, oh boy, All Is True, just okay. There was a Shakespeare doubleheader. The Wrong Todd was good. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to talk about that I enjoyed quite the bit. Off the Rails was another one. So in any event, I'm just going to send it off there, and until the reel of Ka, haha, comes around once more, hasta luego, Cinemigos, and constant viewers alike. I hope that we get to reconvene sooner rather than later, and until then, adios.